Boy, I guess that makes me look like a comedy pinko, huh? I mean, the shirt and the lighting look pretty strange if you ask me. Well, good evening, folks. I went to sleep early. I didn't get my nap yesterday. And my toxic load is so friggin' high, I got no energy. And I've been trying to detox. Going slow because I'm older, and the toxicity level for an older man is much higher than it's going to be for you young folks out there. You need to know these toxic loads are done to us on purpose. The whole system is set up to make us fail, to make us suffer, and to shorten our lives. And the biggest liars and thieves and murderers of them all are the medical profession that the Rockefellers started and the big pharma that runs it all. And they own the health insurance companies, which are just benefits. There's no real insurance. They're dictators. They're going to tell you what you're going to live by and how you're going to die, basically. That's the system that is set up today. I know I'm suffering from it badly. And you are too, whether you know it or not. But most of you listening to my channel know that you're suffering because you're probably older from what I can tell. I'd like to have young folks listening to it, but man, some of these comments from young folks are so insulting. It's like, I don't need you. Go somewhere else. You know, they give us crap about, we young people have to lead. You don't know your ass in the hole in the ground. We barely know ours. Quite frankly, we barely know. We're just waking up to the problem. The problem. I didn't say problems, I said the problem. I almost bought from a Chinese company today, and I talked to the woman on the phone about the deal, and she wouldn't take my offer. She had no flexibility, but she did what the Chinese always do, which is frickin' apologize first and then continue to put the screws to me. So there is one group that we shouldn't be talking to, and that's the Chinese, to be honest with you. I mean, they're never going to play fair. They hate us. They call us white devils. That's what their word for Caucasian translates as. In their language, we're white devils. You talk about racism, you talk about bias, you talk about prejudice. They got it, baby, down in spades. Another group we shouldn't be talking to is any Khazarians. But we got to go bigger than just the Khazarians. And if you don't know who the Khazarians are, you've been living under a friggin' rock. They're ruling the earth. They did the biggest genocide in the last century, and they're getting ready to genocide a whole lot more people. I think they've already done about 1 billion of us in this last go-around, but they control the media, and so we can't get the information. You hear what I said? I think they just genocided 1 billion of us in the last go-around, this recent thing. And I don't think that one's over, because there's a hidden payload in there. It scares me because I had it too. So there's a hidden payload in that damn China virus that has not been activated yet. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and the people we should be going after are spelled out specifically in the Bible. They're identified clearly. The enemies are identified clearly. The problem is you don't know how to apply it. And the other problem is the people that you worship are busy lying to you, telling you that they're not Amalek, that they're not Cain, that they're not Canaanites, Hittites. They lie about their identity, folks. These son of a bitches came from Polynesia, where seafaring people that survived the last Earth Age came out of Polynesia and went around the planet and found a place about as far away from the ocean as they could find, because they didn't trust being on the ocean anymore. They were so traumatized by the last Earth Age. And by the way, they were so magnanimous that their neighbors are the only written records we have about them. They would not write about themselves. Why wouldn't they write about themselves? Because they didn't want you knowing the truth. So they never wrote about themselves. Only their neighbors wrote about them, and it wasn't very flattering. I will say this, though. They gave the world language. Well, at least the Semitic people's language. Yeah, that's the irony of it. They were so brilliant that we stole their friggin' alphabet from them. Oh, I know you think it's the Hebrew alphabet. It's not Hebrew alphabet, baby. We call it Paleo Hebrew because the Hebrews used that one first. And you couldn't buy a vowel in Paleo Hebrew because they didn't exist. And they got it from those seafaring people known as the Phoenicians. That's right, baby. The people in Phoenix did that to you. Oh, hell no. Phoenix may be the city of snakes. It certainly is the city of snakes. And the queen of Babylon lives in Scottsdale. But you need to understand something. The queen of Babylon is both a corporation and institution, and it's embodied in one person. It's just like the Antichrist. The Antichrist is a corporate body. It's an institution. It's been on the earth for a long time. It's been on the earth since the book of Acts. That's our documentation for when that crap started. And it's embodied in one man today. And if you know his name, then put his initials down below. Don't expose him or yourself too damn much. I'm gonna bet you don't know. Come on, folks. You got to stop worshiping anyone or anything other than Yahweh. I'm sorry. And I got the problem too, by the way. I was just reading the book of Isaiah the other night. Yahweh said some stuff that I didn't like. And I'm like, what the hell do I do with this? Yahweh says, I create evil. In the book of Isaiah. I mean, it's a short sentence. I create evil. 3 words. Come on, man. What are you doing? You're supposed to be God. You're supposed to be good, doubly organized, and destructive. And you create evil? What am I missing, folks? We're all missing. We're missing the boat on this one. You need to understand we are all short on this. And what's it come down to for me? John, you got to live by faith. We're not kidding now. You have to go by faith. You're a man of vision. You got ears. Excuse me. You see things, but you mustn't say what you see. Your grandfather told you. We see things, but we mustn't speak about them. I miss him. He was an older gentleman. He and his wife didn't get married until they were in their 30s, which was considered old at the time. And they had their children a little late in life. So they grew up a little bit different. And there were problems in the family, especially with the middle child who happened to be female. Sadly, the oldest child, my uncle, was treated a little too harshly, and I knew that. And when I went to see him for the last time, and I knew it was the last time, I made sure to give him an attaboy, because he didn't hear it very much. Certainly not from my grandmother, not from his mother. She was a little bit cold and austere. She treated me well, and as my Uncle Roy said, he wished he had gotten along with his mother as well as I did. Well, folks, there's demons in the family. All of our families got them. You want to know what demons are like in a family? Go read King David's family. You want to know one screwed up family? Go read that. And as far as this thing in the garden with Eve, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I know the truth. I think I know the truth. I think I know what it's trying to tell us or what it's actually saying to us. But it's just hard to fathom. You had someone who wanted to be God, or some entity that wanted to be God so badly, they decided to marry into the family because then they couldn't be rejected. And they started this mess we're living through today. That's right. It's giant allegory, folks. It's interpretable on several levels in several ways at the same friggin' time. And the Bible can be read any way you want. You can read it one way, or as Mr. Webster used to prove when going into the Congress, you could go back into Congress the next day and prove it says the opposite. He had a lot of fun with that. I think he did anyway. I wasn't there, but I would have loved to have watched him. You imagine being there and this magnanimous guy who understands words so well and writes his own dictionary. And by the way, he set the pace for the English language in the new world. Yeah. And what was his one big trick? He knew. He knew the tricks of the attorneys. And he would walk in and file a case and file a copy of his dictionary in the court record. And he would say, these are the definitions we are going to use. And they were stuck using his definitions. See, that's what they do. They change the language and the definitions on us all the time. They are tricksters. They are jokesters. They are vile sons of a bitches. They're Bar Association members. We are going to kick them to the curb. I'm serving them notice to the Texas Supreme Court, the biggest liars and jackasses and thieves in the country. They have pulled off the biggest bullshit in the world in the state of Texas. Yeah, you people are big, all right. You're full of yourselves. You're narcissistic as hell. I don't like seeing your license plates on the road because you don't give a shit about anybody else. You don't work with other people. You don't play well with others. If I was president, you wouldn't even be part of this country. I'd give you back to Mexico. I'm tired of you. What? You faked a moon landing or several of them? What kind of frauds, liars, and thieves are you? What else did you fake? Oh, fake investigation of the Kennedy assassination. And how many Texans did it take to kill a president? One of those boys is still alive. If I was president, it'd be in chains. Literally in chains. Not figuratively. And the friggin' Secret Service that's protected his ass would hand him over. They could protect him in chains too, for all I care. Or at least they can sit outside the cell and guard his ass. How many people did he kill? How many children did he kill in Iraq? Yeah, folks. Ginger Bregan reminded us of that. It was at least 750,000 children he murdered in Iraq, in a war for which there was no basis except some lying little bitch and the incubators. Oh, it turns out she had diplomatic immunity. That's why she could get away with that shit. Yeah, that cute little girl was the ambassador's daughter. Full diplomatic immunity. She lied on the stage. She lied on television. And the same shit's going on today. I know the guy on the radio. I want to ask him. So, does the CIA pay very well, James? Yeah, I go to the same place he goes to pretty often. I see his wife. Oh, his wife is smoking hot. And I called her that one time, and I was like, oh, my God, come on, John. I was shook up because I called her smoking hot. It's another man's wife. calls her smoking out on the radio all the time. What am I supposed to do? Tell her she's not smoking hot? Lance had introduced me to her before and told me her proper name. Her husband doesn't tell his proper name of his wife on the air. He's a smart man when it comes to that. She ain't exactly petite or weak. She's very much in shape. Believe me. And she's a nice lady. She puts up with that clown. Yeah, who tells lies on the radio now, who works obviously for the CIA Mockingbird media. He wants to be syndicated. How do you know if somebody's CIA Mockingbird media? Syndicated. CI indicated. You need to understand, these liars, thieves, and murderers have been killing us for a long time. You realize how many astronauts they murdered to cover up their secrets? You realize how many musicians they murdered to keep control? My God, they murdered so many musicians it wasn't funny. James Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Mama Cass. Who the hell else did they murder? Oh yeah, Marilyn Monroe. Come on, we got the deathbed confession. The guy said he worked for the CIA and he had killed 70-something people for the CIA during his long, illustrious career, but he wasn't going to go to the grave without spilling his guts and confessing his sins. I think he injected her with something. And why did they do that? Because she had made the mistake of uttering something that caught worldwide attention, and they were afraid she was going to spill the beans. Guess who else was afraid that they were going to spill the beans? Richard Milhous Nixon. On his White House tapes, every time he referred to the Bay of Pigs, what was Richard Milhous Nixon really referring to? That's right. The Kennedy assassination. He was in on it too. I counted up how many presidents it took to kill one president one time, and I come up with 6 presidents, past and future and present. I don't know if you want to call LBJ a present president, since he killed his own president. So what are you going to do now that you know the truth about LBJ? Are you going to go dig his ass up and try him in absentia? Are you going to go burn his bones or something? Are you going to desecrate his grave? Are you going to take it out on his family? Are you going to go after the wealth they made illegally off their helicopter stocks? Yes, Lady Plant a Tree Johnson, Lady Bird. Make America beautiful, plant a tree. What was that? Bell and Howell? What was the... She owned stock in the helicopter company. That's why she wanted to go to war. She was making a lot of money off it. And you son of a bitches out there want to go to war too, because you love a wartime economy, not realizing the full price you are going to pay. You have to pay. Sad thing is you're making me pay along with you. The dumbass is not a region in the Ukraine. That lady doesn't get off her fat ass, I'm going to find somebody else to do the work. I'm tired of sitting still. When you're my age, there's only a few things that matter to you, and the number one thing is time. Money don't matter. Fuck that shit. There is no money. You don't have any money. They stole it all. They own it all. They have it set up as a giant house of cards. They're ready to pull it out, the rug out from under you. They have built a trap that you can't escape from. It's going to be so fast. It's going to make your head spin. Faster than that chick in The Exorcist. head spun. It's going to be going, I mean, it's going to be going real fast. My Belgian Maloir's got that chomp. Freaky. It was like that skeleton, you know, on the cartoons when I was a kid, rattling his jaw together. Freaking dog does that. I don't like it, but it's part of the breed. She's doing better. We're getting her a little more civilized, a little bit more used to people. She is super sweet and affectionate. She's still, first trainer I used, engaged, said nervous. He's right. He didn't want me breeding her because of the nervousness. Yeah, folks, breeding dogs, not much different than humans. Your inherent intelligence comes from your mom. That's right. Your inherent intellectual abilities come from mother. Your character and your training comes from father. And it's genetically passed on. Same with the dogs. That's why they always care about the father, the sire. They don't care about the females, the dames. A lot of them consider them just trash. They don't care. All they care about is getting the male genetics on down the road. It's a mistake. This dog's got the genetics. I found the dog I wanted to mate her with, but my first trainer's a dog Nazi. That's right. He's a dictator. He doesn't realize I almost got that dog for myself. That's right. Male dog. Perfect. Perfect. I mean, his hair is shorter. It's standard Malinois colors. Tanner. Okay, it's common. Standard issue. But his temperament was just incredible. And I watched that dog being trained up to be handled by a woman who had a little trouble. And the dog was like a gentleman. Seriously, a Belgian with that much control and composure? Now I want to mate that dog with my dog, because I know damn well the puppies produced are going to have the most potential of any Belgians out there. You see, her sire represented the country of Romania for many years. Their number one dog. She tracks things like you won't believe. I try to get her to calm down because she doesn't need to be tracking. That's not the nature of the job with me, but that's the nature of her breeding. She's trained to be a champion. She is the mother of champions. Got some friends that want dogs. I'm going to train her up some more. And I'm going to go back to the damn dog Nazi. And I'm going to get his approval. Yeah, I'm going to win this one. And I'm going to breed my dog. I want to get a male out of it. And I know enough right now to know that I don't want to be the one doing the breeding. I don't want to be doing the one raising them. I don't know. I've learned enough now that once I have a puppy from her, I got to spade her because I can't have her son impregnating her. So that or I got to fix them both. And I really would like to have a spare dog. I don't want to be without a good dog ever again. And I really want to get a dog. Actually, she'll tolerate any dog, so I don't have a problem with that. But I want to get a dog. I want it to be one of her puppies. Why? Because I'm training her. She doesn't quite know English yet, but she's going to know English. Not German, not Belgian, not French. She's going to know English. And she's going to have good manners. And her children going to be princes, princesses. What a pretty girl. Oh. Still trying to get my new home going. Appreciate the prayers. My language isn't too bad tonight. Thank you so much. My commission. I told you about that between the lines in previous videos. So if you want to know about that, go there and look at those. I don't want to tell you anything straight up because I don't trust you. That's right. Psychology means the study of the soul. We hopefully understand the soul. Hopefully we understand the philosophy undergirding our discipline. And there are some better trained up ones than I. Yeah, I got a friend who's trained twice as good. Kind of neat though, you know. I show up, he's doing his Catholic stuff out there at the table. He does that every day. Religiously, superstitiously, whatever you want to call it, yeah. And there I am reading my Bible. He says, nobody reads that anymore. You know something? Kings read that book. That's right. I'll be your benevolent dictator. Now my buddy, yeah, he'd have a place in my administration that would be pretty damn high up. But I'm still going to be in charge because he doesn't read the book of the law. He doesn't understand it. I do. But he understands so much more than I do. It's not funny. So I would have him there because, well, he'd be honest with me. He'd be willing to go toe-to-toe with me for your sake. To make sure I wasn't overstepping my bounds. I don't know if he'd want to be a hatchet man or not, because that's what I need is a good hatchet man. But of course, I think this society and this civilization is going to come apart so well that maybe we don't need a hatchet man. Maybe we need people that are just going to knit her back together again, the way our founders started it all, and kick the British out of this country once and for all. Actually, I'd like to go to war against Great Britain. They deserve it after what they've done to this nation. No, not the people. Although I have to say their stuffiness, their uppityness, their narcissism. Yeah, we need to kick their asses to the curb where they belong. I know. It's our brother. I know. But he hasn't treated us right, has he? Oh no. It's caused trouble everywhere around the planet. Stole our papers. Oh, and by the way, we need to talk about why Roe versus Wade had to go away. Roe versus Wade had to go away. Why? Because the Supreme Court established a precedent in Roe versus Wade. And it was just a matter of time before somebody came along and cleaned the clock on the Patriot laws, the Patriot Act, because they were unconstitutional. And what did Roe versus Wade expose? The Patriot Act 1 and 2 and all the legislation that goes into that. I mean, they really weaved a hell of a trap. So you'd have to go 2 or 3 different layers of legalese deep or more to find out what was really going on. It's really that bad. The devil is in the details. The devil owns and runs America today. America, I told you. I saw her walking down the street. Would she be considered the whore of Babylon? Mystery Babylon. The man of lawlessness is Barack Hussein Obama. He set this government up to fail. He set it up very much like an ironclad trap, and you cannot escape from it. Sure, you could go against it with guns. I don't advise it. They're waiting for that. They've been trying to egg that on for a long time. Or you could unplug from the system, refuse to consent. You could discover the fact that you have a trust fund, and you're worth so much it's not funny according to that fund. But remember, it's all phony money. So my friends that are partaking in that are just continuing the fraudulent practices. It doesn't fit right with me. It's free stuff. Costs too much. So I'm supposed to learn how to file and manipulate and become my own banker, my own bankster, and put the screws to the other son of a bitch because they're too ignorant? That ain't right. Just makes me another devil. I don't know, when I confront my friends about their bullshit and tell them, you can't do that to other people, because it seems like they get possessed by that shit. Just take the hit, lose, but don't lose the lesson. And you better get your militias going, because the shooting's going to start. 2024 is going to be year of the riots. That's right. You're going to have teams of riflemen walking through this country just dusting off people. Yeah, they've been rehearsing and practicing down at the border. It's just a matter of time before they step across over here. And if you think you're going to stop a platoon of 30 to 50 riflemen with full battle rifles who enjoy killing, guys in the neighborhoods aren't going to be able to stop that. Not unless you organize, and organize again, and organize on top of that. Google pretends to be God too. So you're going to have to pretend to be God just to defend your very lies. You're going to have to be not just doubly good, J-O-O-D. You're going to have to become triply good, J. Where the hell did the J come from? G-O-O-O-D. I didn't mean to be emphasizing the overdose part of that, but it's there, you dumbasses. Remember, the dumbass is not a region in the Ukraine. They take your dumbasses to war, and they destroy you from within and without. And you think, let's take it out on the other son of a bitch over there. It doesn't have anything to do to us here. It's okay. It's the other guy. We don't even see it. Your news media is so full of liars. You ought to have a law. If a news broadcaster lies, off with their head. That's right. It's a kiss of death. If that son of a bitch is going to fabricate news and report lies, should be put to death. Oh, and don't worry, there's 30,000 guillotines in warehouses right now, so we've got they gave us the instruments. They were all made over in China. I guess they're high-tech guillotines, too. We've had them for probably 2 decades. I don't think chopping off heads gets old. Do you? I think they're going to be useful guillotines. They were intending to use them on us anyway. Folks, that's poetic justice. We take control, we turn things around, we use on them what they want to use on us. And now we have to go to one of the biggest problems we have in this society, and that's with the females. Because the females are too eager to put us in prison. Dr. Kent's going to take up boxing, by the way. Yeah. You tell Mikey I want a piece of him. Dr. Kent wants a piece of Mikey. Mikey, make sure you eat before we fight. okay? I want to keep my ears. Mikey, I know you're not as bad as what they said. You and I ought to talk. We've almost met about a half a dozen times. That's right. I know people that know you. People report to me. I already got a good view of this, good sense about you, Mikey. You are not understood. That's the truth. The public doesn't understand you. I don't know if I do, but I'm looking forward to getting in that ring with you. It's going to be a hoot. Please don't hurt me too badly, Mike. I don't want to be hurt. We're both old men now, but I don't think I can hurt you too bad. You, on the other hand, oh shit. Come on, Mikey. You gotta play fair, and you know damn well I gotta get in your face and chide you a little bit. I'll do my best not to go overboard with it, because I know there's a beast in there. We've all seen that beast, Mike. You've displayed it for us many times, and we've paid for the entertainment, so. Mr. Tyson, let's clear your name. And let's set a precedent for the other men in our society. These women who lie about us, who put us in prison, who try to set us up to put us in prison. Mikey, I want your help. I want your help with establishing justice in America. I know it's a tall order for a boxer, but I think you can do it. It'll be your greatest accomplishment. You'll help all the rest of us out. We need a law. There ought to be a law. I know it's the epitaph of America, but it's really common sense. If somebody wants to lie and put your ass in prison for something you didn't do, how about we put their ass in prison instead? For something they falsely, knowingly accuse someone else of, just so they can get a check, just so they can get child custody. The women are allergic to responsibility, Mikey. We need to hold their feet to the fire and make them accountable and responsible. This shit's been going on since the Oracle at Delphi, where a lot of this stuff started. Inland Greece, up a little ways, up in the hills. There's no telling how much dope they put that woman on, how far she was out of her friggin' mind when they put her on display and used her and set up these kings and queens and everybody else that turned to the Oracle. Hell of a bunch of frauds they practice there, and that stuff's been mainstreamed. That's just going on a bigger scale today in the world today. Mikey, you're pretty damn innocent. Who the hell else gets stopped with a bunch of blow on his face, on his lap, and on the center console of his car, and doesn't hide it, and just says, I think I got a problem? I thought at the time that was reported that this son of a bitch could get away with it. And you did. But the thing is that you actually went off, and I think you got help, and you knew you needed help. And the crazy ass thing is you really set an example. Admit you got a problem. Take care of it. That's creepy. She's got this big chew toy in her mouth. She's got an ego. She likes showing this thing off. It's a fake bone with, looks like jacks at the end of it. You know how jacks are? You throw them on the floor. You bounce the ball, throw the jacks, pick up the jacks for the ball, whatever comes down. And if you step on one of those jacks, it hurts like a son of a bitch. That's more dangerous than a Lego. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jack, she should have been my dog. But that's okay. This one's all right. I paid a hell of a lot more for her, too. I'll admit that. She's cute as a button. She's pretty innocent, but she's so stupid fast. It's like that flying whale I bought. So stupid fast. Yeah. Just wants to go. Just like her. What a good girl. Tail snaps and wags, of course. And she crunches on that bone, a little bit more pride in her mouth. Look at me and my teeth. Yeah, I know. And look at all the times she came out of the plane pretty rough. I'll put it that way. And they didn't know what kind of work she was going to do. These are working dogs. They didn't know where she was going to end up at, so they leave them rough so that they can be the dogs they're noted for, dogs of war. I don't want my baby going to war. I want her prepared, but I don't want her going. So what do you think about the draft? They're going to take your daughters. Well, you asked for it. They asked for it. Somebody asked for it somewhere. I think it's horrible. That's what I think. Are we men? Are we men? Shit. Because we men, ain't we? I'm sorry. That ain't very manly of us. Women are supposed to be protected, yet they're the most bloodthirsty things on the earth. Let's face it, they are far more dangerous than the males are. The Israelis found that out when they drafted the women years ago because they couldn't control the women and they were a little too bloodthirsty. That's what they found out to shoot a long time ago. Oh, hell. Let me look. No, I can't have 2 hours on this thing. No way I've gone that long. Oh, okay. I was panicking there. 42 minutes 57. They had to get rid of Roe versus Wade because it said that there was a right to privacy in the Constitution. And of course, your various bills, like the one that Flight 800 inspired, and these Patriot Acts and all that, Patriot Act 2, and they never stopped that stuff. They're unconstitutional as hell, and they want to keep that power up. Did you know that 80% of the electricity in this country is used for data mining? That's right, 80% of the electricity, which you and I pay for, because if it was on the free open market, you could bet it would be a hell of a lot cheaper. And if they really were concerned about global warming, and there really was a problem with global warming, they'd throttle it back, wouldn't they? 80% of the electricity in this country is used to process the data on your frickin' electronic leashes and everything else. 80% of the electricity. How I arrived at that number, there are 4 data farms in Albuquerque. Each data farm uses as much electricity as the entire metropolitan area of Albuquerque uses every day. So you have 4 plus 1, 5 entities drawing from the electricity, which means only 20% is necessary. The other 80% is being used. And you need to think about those data farms as the towers of your penitentiary. That's right, you're in prison. And those are the towers manned with guards. turned inward against the American people. Didn't need to build a wall down there, folks. When I'm president, we'll build a wall between California and the rest of the country. Those people are nuts. They need to be excommunicated from the religion of Americanese. They'll never be constitutional over there. They cannot be rehabilitated. Now, we could just leave them to their own devices and let them fight among themselves and not intervene and not save their asses. And they can divide up into several different countries or states. But California, being the place of the big lies, where they kill presidents and cover it up, where they stage moon landings and hoax the rest of us, and steal us of our entire country, that place needs to be just jettisoned. Mexican can have her again. Let the Texans fend for themselves. But I want George Bush to stand trial, because he was there in Dealey Plaza that day. His daddy took his son to work that day. And watch history in the making, killing John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Yeah. In that magazine, by George. Why did he call it George? He was naming his daddy's killer. He wanted to make sure you had that name in your craw, so you would never get rid of the name George Bush, be it Herbert Walker or whatever the hell the other one is. George Sr. and George Jr. That's another son of a bitch that needs to be tried in absentia, and we need to set the record straight. Folks, the medical profession has been killing us left and right. They don't even hide it. They're so disgusted right now, you can see the lack of care in their faces. I went to an ear doctor recently. He don't give a shit. I ain't going to bother with his ass. Yeah, I'd like to have him do a proper workup. I'm curious, but he wants to kill me. That's right. Just like the rest of the medical jackasses. And by the way, they killed me years ago. Just so that you know, for the record, they killed me about half my life ago. They took my life. It's just been a slow burner. It's just a matter of time. But they know what they're doing. They shortened my life purposely. They're a bunch of son of a bitches. They're liars, frauds, thieves, and murderers. That's 4 different ones there, boys and girls. It's not just 3 anymore. And we call it a medical military industrial complex. With good reason. Because it's just not the military that does the killing anymore. I think they've already reduced the Earth's population by 1 billion. I don't have any way to prove that. It's hard to get the numbers. But somebody said that last summer, I think. Summer before this recent one, somebody said that. A woman, a nurse up in Nova Scotia. Very beautiful. Very honest. Man, does she have sex appeal. Honesty is really becoming. Especially on a woman. She's quite well married. I'm sure her husband knows how beautiful she is. I'd love to ask a woman that and say that, but I've learned you don't say anything like that in private. You make it big, bold, and public. Then they have a real rough time because they're too busy being embarrassed by it to feel offended. You reduce them to feeling like a little girl again, too. You put them in their place, and they're like, what do I do? What do I say? I don't know. Let the woman come out in you, maybe? Let the femininity exude from you? Maybe live up to the ideal of being a nurturer? Because right now, All I see out there is men loving and caring and giving. I don't see women doing it. Not at all. Women are just plain. They are. Siri Singh Saab said, they are merciless. And it's getting worse. Yeah, those legal sons of a bitches that are working on dividing the country, make sure to drive that wedge in there further and further. And you women are so dumb. Remember, the dumbass is not a region in the Ukraine. You women are so stupid you fall for it. Eve fell for it too, so don't worry. There was a precedence. And in case you're wondering, the man was not deceived. The woman was. And I know you want to blame us, and you think you're being cute, but you're just being a region in the Ukraine. Sorry, folks. I didn't make it up. You women make it up and think it's cute. You better stop your cutesy ways, and you better start holding each other responsible and accountable, because if you don't, your country's going down. You're the backbone of our morality, and man, have you screwed that up. Don't worry, it's historical. Every country, every civilization, every culture in which female sexuality becomes unbridled ceases to exist in short order. That's the pattern. Published in 1934 by Unwin. I think his first name was James. I don't know. Unwin, Unwin. Google it up. It's about a 750-page lifetime work. It was actually finished in 1932. He waited 2 years to publish it because he wanted to make sure it was absolutely right in his conclusions. And it's debatable still. I can argue that he was wrong. Of course, as your benevolent dictator, I will show you he was wrong. We're going to cork that. We're going to put that genie back in the bottle, and we're going to cork that. Yeah, you won't like it, but you're going to love having your families and your children back, aren't you? You're going to love having your homes. You're going to love having children valued and monetized. I'm not shitting you. I'm not kidding you. It was done before. Unwin wasn't right. He just needed to have waited a few more years. But then again, my buddy, my older brother, told me how Unwin was correct. So, we will talk about that in the future, I hope. I want you to buy my Bibles. I want you to give them to each other. I want you to give them away. I want you to get them out there. I want you to read them above all else and compare it to the King James. It is the King James, and it is a far better rendition than any other before it. I make fewer assumptions and fewer errors. I suffer less from churchianity, less from religiosity, and I got plenty of that. I know that. I know myself probably better than any other man alive knows himself. You can quote me on that. I'm putting that in my letter to the medical board as I'm serving them notice that you and I are going after them. Yeah, we have to put an end to their killing. That's just a killing machine. Rockefellers, their original name had 2 G's in the middle of it. They're related to the vampire from Romania. Yeah, I know, we thought those were just stories. They were historical facts. That's right. Count Dracula was a big dude, man. He was a giant. And he also saved his nation in a very, very ugly way. And they celebrate him because he actually turned back the Byzantine Empire. That little son of a bitch in that little tiny country saved his nation. was a hell of a way to do it, though. When I think about that type of leadership and that kind of decision making, I'm not fit to be president. I'm too sensitive. I'm too kind. I told my buddy in Indianapolis I was going to kick some ass, something like that. He says, John, no, you're not. I know you. I know you, buddy, and you couldn't hurt a fly. Don't bullshit me, buddy. Don't bullshit any of us. Yeah, Rick is on the harder side. He's not returning my calls. Please pray for Rick. I'm hoping that I can see him this spring. Planned a big event with him and with my new rig, and he hasn't responded yet. And unfortunately, I only got one person to turn to check up on him for me, and I don't want to go there. I even left that in a message to him, figured this will motivate him. He don't want me contacting her to check up on his ass. Sorry, Rick. You forced it. I got to do it. Ain't love strange? Rick, you were right. You were right. We don't pick who we love. It just happens. And we suffer for it. I'll tell you why we do that, but that'll be in another future video as well. My name's Dr. John Taylor Kent. I'm running to be president. I'm running as the sole member, because nobody else is good enough, of the party of the benevolent dictator. So when I seize power, because the Constitution is no longer in effect, and the oath means nothing, so I'm just going to seize power. You think I'm going to take the oath of office and go through all that? That remains to be seen. It would be kind of like that prince, what was his name, who said he would never be coronated on the Holy Bible. Why is that? That he wouldn't be coronated as king on the Holy Bible? What color is your dragon, folks? Welcome to the Dr. Kent Show, Dragon Slayer.